Welcome to the Never Throw in the Towel podcast. This episode is sponsored by Test Me. We are thrilled and really proud to be sponsored by Test Me because they are an organisation that share our values and mission around improving men's physical and mental well-being. Test Me Health focuses on the important link around gut health and well-being, which is so important because it's gaining knowledge around food that impacts the gut in a negative way, which can be a game changer because we are gaining knowledge and education around nutrition and diet, ultimately resulting in a much better and safer lifestyle. I just want to say a huge thank you to Test Me for backing and supporting the Never Throw in the Towel podcast, which is stories around resilience and adversity in hope to help and inspire, and trying to change the culture around men talking with the message that talking is a strength, not a weakness. Please like and subscribe to the channel because more likes, more subscriptions, and the more this channel grows, ultimately, this will help more people. Enjoy the show. Never Throw in the Towel. So welcome to the Never Throw in the Towel podcast. So today we have Matt Homan.
Yep.
Have I pronounced it right there? Yeah, so when I get the opportunity of linking up with people doing mental health in the area as well, I think it's always important that you do that. When I started doing this podcast, the main aim of actually doing the podcast was this was kind of like the strap line of hearing stories from people who have had adversity and came through the other end. And I think this episode today is actually going to be exactly that. So I'm just going to pretty much sit back, and I'd just like you right from the off just to tell us your story, mate.
Okay, well, firstly, thanks for having me on. It's nice to finally have a proper catch-up with you. My journey began really... I'll come on to my story, which started in May of 2021. But before that, so I was in the police, serving police officer at Cleveland. Loved it. Absolutely. I had a great job, really interesting, well thought of at work, I think. And then my partner at the time, she was a domestic violence support worker based in the Tees Valley. And she decided she wanted to join the police. I knew there was issues around her, and before I go any further, I won't speak because it's not fair for me to. I won't name her. I'm not going to.
Right, okay.
I'm not going to go into her history because that's not fair. That's her journey and that stuff. But what I will say was there was issues around mental health, some self-harm and alcohol issues.
Right, okay.
So she joined the police, and I was away in the May. I was at Wrighton, which is where the National College of Policing is. I was on a course that I'd always wanted to do. It was a nationally accredited course.
What were you doing in the what actually was your job in the police?
So I'll go through it. So I started off on response at Middlesbrough. So in uniform, flying around, chasing cars.
I bet that was
working Middlesbrough Town Centre when it used to have a nightlife, and I just loved it. Yeah. I'd found my calling.
Well, so I can imagine it being an adrenaline-fueled job.
It was.
And that brotherhood, teamwork, I get.
Yeah, but as I tell my story, you'll see how that's not as real as people make it out to be. But yeah, I loved it, and then I ended up doing a few roles, and I got into the intelligence world, and I was what they called a field intelligence officer at Middlesbrough. So we would recruit people to come and speak to us, which is difficult, as you can imagine. We would look at intelligence, we would build up cases for CID, major crime, and go, look, we've had this intelligence, we've done X amount of work, this is the package. So really interesting
That
stuff.
sounds, you know what, I 24 hours in police custody is my favourite programme.
It's a great programme.
So all of that, I bet, was just juicy.
Yeah, it was great. And then I ended up getting divorced, typical police, and I had 2 young kids, and they were changing our shift pattern, and it was the first time I thought, I can't not see my kids for work. So I asked for the shift pattern, and it was up at headquarters. And I ended up in the intelligence unit, but for the force. So not just Middlesbrough, it was covering Stockton, Middlesbrough, Hartlepool and Stockton. It was amazing.
Right.
Honestly, like murder manhunts, crimes in action, so firearm discharges,
Wow.
multiple kilos of drugs,
Ah, right, okay.
high levels of violence. We would get called out, kidnaps, stuff like that.
Right.
Real good stuff.
Yeah. The movie stuff.
Yeah. Not stood outside flares, trying to get people home in a taxi instead of locking them up. You know what I mean? But it was brilliant. And then I ended up as a SPOC, a single point of contact. So I ended up doing a lot of phone work. So tracking people through phone work, trying to find high-risk missing people. And in covert standards where I ended up, we would be the gatekeepers for anything covert that was happening within the force. So
right, okay.
it was really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'd finally got this job that I wanted. The shifts were great, draining, because on a night you would get a call and you were just up all night.
Yeah.
And then back into work the next day. And I think the longest shift I pulled wasn't far off 30-odd hours.
Wow.
And it's looking back, it's mental.
Yeah.
So I went on my course, and first week there was issues at home, and then I came home for that weekend, and funnily enough, she was very like, missed you, I can't believe you're going back for a week, and blah, 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 and it was all over me really, and I was like, oh.
So let me just quickly get this right. So you were married, had the two kids,
Yeah.
and this was like your next partner.
Yeah. So
Right,
I was with
okay.
her for 7 years in
Right,
total.
okay.
So when I got divorced, I was on my own for about 4 years, I think.
Right, okay.
Met her, and then, So I go away for the second week on the Sunday night, and the bike's important, but I'll come on to it. So I rode bike.
Right, okay.
So I took my bike up for the second week, and I was out on my bike on the Wednesday. It was a beautiful evening, riding around there. Like, it's on the Vale of Coventry, and it's just a lot of money and villages, and it was beautiful. And I sent her a picture of my bike, and I just said, I've had a really good ride. Enjoy your night shift. And she was like, yeah, love you. Something else. I love you. I hope you enjoyed your bike ride. So I goes back to the digs, and we were watching some football with a few beers, and get a phone call, and she's crying, and I thought something had happened at work. I was like, what's happened? And she was plastered. She hadn't gone into work, and I'm leaving you. And so this went on all night. And long story short, she left, and I had to come home the next day, and the house was empty. So she'd emptied, the dogs had gone, and she took all of her stuff and gone. So as a bloke, your relationships broke down, and it's hard. I listen to a lot of lads who are like, just get back on Tinder. And I've never done all of that. And I was like, I was broken. I
think blokes deal with that type of stuff
badly.
really, really bad. I think we're probably we're softies, aren't we? A lot of us are.
Yeah.
Emotionally, yeah.
I'm terrible. Like, I cry. I well up at like people achieving stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Mate, I cry. Mate, I'm the same. I'll never forget this. My missus takes the mick out of me. We watched the One Direction movie, and I cried when. I cried when. What's his name? One of the lads bought his mum a house.
Yeah, stuff like that's
tears started trickling down my face.
I said to my current partner, I said, my dream is to buy my mum and dad like a house. But so.
And by the way, so when that happened,
yeah.
Was that like a big like wow? What's happened there, or was there a few incidents and behaviour leaning towards
things hadn't been good for a long time?
Right. Okay.
But managing her was difficult.
Okay.
And I'll come on to that later. But it was just I wasn't massively surprised, but I was just I was shocked still. So
yeah.
I'm now in the house on my own, not doing well. And she wouldn't speak to me or do anything. And then suddenly I get a message out the blue, we need to talk. So I was like, right, okay. So she came round. And me knowing what I know about the police, it was about 2:00 in the afternoon. And she was in a police uniform, but with a civilian coat on. And I was like, why has she left work early? So she come in and she sat down and she said, basically, work want to speak to you. And I knew, I thought, what have you? And I said to her, what have you said? What have you done? Oh, it's not my fault. I was in a welfare meeting, and my inspector, she she thinks you're controlling and coercive and all of this stuff. And then she started to flip it back onto me saying, you need to take some responsibility for this. And I was like, what? Next thing, a phone rings and it's her sergeant going through. So when you're the victim of domestic violence, you go through a form. Are you at risk? Are the children involved? It's like a DV referral form. So you get a bit of it's a questionnaire based around getting a clearer picture. Right. I did that while she was at my house. I'm thinking, well, I can't be that much of a threat.
Right.
So that was on the Wednesday. Long story short, on the Friday, I get taken to Hartlepool Police Station as a voluntary interviewer. So they didn't arrest me. And now I know that one person in particular was fighting not to get me arrested, but they wanted me arrested.
Right, okay.
So it goes in for this interview, awful. So I'm a serving police officer, well accredited, well thought of. The job I was doing, we would deal with superintendents and say, no, you're not getting it. You know, like, this is... We had the respect to go back to bosses and go, no, you need to do this, and this, and they go, right, fair enough.
Right, okay.
So, but then to be stood in custody, getting booked in.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember just thinking, this is surreal. So it goes in for interview and they start questioning me about control and coercive behaviour, and I opened up around our relationship and said, look, this isn't as black as white as what you think. And so I went through this interview and just told, look, we'll look into it and we'll let you know. And then 2 days later, I was told I was getting served with gross misconduct papers, which I'd never been served before. I'd never been in trouble internally. And in the police, just to explain it, if you're investigated criminally, you're then investigated from a disciplinary point of view.
Yeah.
So the balance of probability with discipline is the lower threshold to criminal. So criminal, you've got to have the evidence, you've got to have but then if they think, well, actually, you might have done this, even though it's nothing criminal, they can still come for you.
On the disciplinary side of things,
So it's quite complicated.
Yeah.
However, I have learned since it does protect you as well. So when that happens, like what kicks in is, so you pay federation subs, solicitors kick in, support, all that. So then I'm on the sick and I'm at home for 8 weeks.
Not in a good
knowing
headspace.
Anything.
At this point, not in a good headspace.
No, I decorated my whole landing front room. I had no money at the time, so I ripped my carpets up and found out I had good floorboards. So I was just like, right, sand the floorboards, get them and me, my dad was helping me, and I remember a phone call from a sergeant. He just said, look, mate, you've got no case to answer. He said, sorry it's gone on for so long. And I just burst into tears. And me and my dad are close, but he's not like me. Like, he's not a hugger. He's not I tell my son who's 18, I love you. And
yeah, I'm exactly the same.
And he just grabbed me.
Right.
And he was like, you all right? And I was like, I just can't believe what's gone on. And it wasn't relief, because I knew I hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
I knew I hadn't. It was like...
But there was a highly frustrating, though, as well.
Yeah. It kills you.
And when you're when you're a good person, this is what the thought of you doing wrong, it kills you, doesn't it? Or the thought of people thinking you've done wrong.
I think the worst of it was, I knew I was in a system that is biased towards women. And I'll come on to that as well later on. But
I've got a little story on that one as well that I'll share later.
I knew I was in a system that was not, as a middle-aged white heterosexual male, you are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And as my story goes on, you'll see why. So, told no case to answer criminally, which was a relief. And then a couple of weeks later, I meet with professional standards who say, look, we don't need to interview you because you've already done your taped interview. We're going to use that. You've got no case to answer.
Right, okay.
Basically, stay away from it, etc., etc. In between that time, I wasn't told I couldn't have contact with her or anything. So the messages were coming through. She was told to change her phone number, so I didn't have her number. She then messaged me.
Right.
Matt, I didn't mean for this to happen. I love you. I miss you. The police have ran away with it. This is not what I wanted. And I was like, what? Like, my head was battered. I had a house full of all of her stuff.
Yeah.
So I was dropping it off at a flat. I'd asked for help with the police. I said to the Federation, look, can you facilitate this? No, we're not a removal service, was the answer I got.
Right.
So 2 days after I was told there was no case to answer with a discipline, I was at home. It was a Wednesday night. And I was cooking. I always forget, and I've never cooked it since. I still cook Thai broths, but this was a seafood Thai broth.
Right, okay.
And I love cooking, and it was my way of
I
escape.
love cooking.
Yeah, so, and I've never done it since.
Right.
I do a mean Thai broth, but never done it with seafood. So, knock on the door. Domestic violence unit. It's like 8 o'clock on the night, and I was like, are we in? Acting inspector who I knew, who I was quite friendly with.
Right.
He said, Matt, you're going to have to come with us. You're getting locked up. I said, what for? He said, harassment. I was like, on who? On her.
No way.
And he went, we need your phone. And I knew. So when I was interviewed the first time, they asked for my phone. And I said, well, has she handed hers over? And has she? No. And I said, well, you're not having my phone. Like, and I knew that, obviously, the legislation and stuff. But
Right,
I knew
okay.
they'd come for me. So I get arrested for harassment. And when you're arrested as a cop, you're taken to outside your force area.
Right, okay.
Which I understand why.
So did you give your phone over, by the way, or was that...
Well, you got no choice.
You've got no choice.
I said it's
Ah,
there.
right, okay.
So,
Right,
you know,
okay.
So got taken to Durham police station. And it's funny. I told the story the other day on another podcast, actually. I wore a pair of shorts because I knew I had no belt or things in. I wore sandals. It was hot. It was in the August. And I wore a jumper. I thought, right, they can't take any of this off me. And
Right,
that's
okay.
how I was thinking it. Like, I'm going into custody. They're going to cut my cords out. They'll take my laces out. So wear stuff that's
Right, okay.
crazy how the mind kicks into survival.
Yeah.
So on the way at the police station, there's comments such as in the car, this is a crock of shit. We know what it is, but we have to do it. And I
Right,
was
okay.
like, do you? So I thought, just stay quiet. Gets into custody. They booked me in with circumstances that if I was a normal member of the public, the custody sergeant would have turned away. And I was like, really, is this?
Right.
So I knew, I thought, oh, this is the game. So I get put in a cell for about 3 hours. It was awful, mate. Like, there's people banging on the doors and yeah. So I was in Dallow, Nick, funnily enough.
Right, okay.
What are you in here for, mate? And I was like, oh my God. I'm like now on the other side as a cop. So I'm sat in the cell and I thought, right, just stay calm. Don't. And I just totally went into myself and started pacing up and down the cell slowly. And there's a band called Doves. They have loads of great songs. And I love my music. And I just got one of their songs in my head and I was just like singing it over and over and over and over. And I was trying to meditate.
Right, okay.
I was just trying to sit and close my eyes.
Singing meditation.
Singing the Doves. So next thing they come out, met with a solicitor and he said, Matt, they've got no statement from her. She's walked out of a video interview. So they'd done a video interview with her and apparently after a couple of hours she went, right, I can't do this, and left. She's refused to give her phone up. It's third party reporting from her inspector. So they'd gone round to do a welfare check on her and she'd said, oh, he's torturing me and this is what I'm getting. So for example, on WhatsApp, you know, you can delete some messages and keep some, so you can make it look however you want. Now, I was a digital media investigator as well in the police. What I didn't know at the time about phones and how to incriminate yourself and how it was nobody's business, so I'd kept everything. And I said to the solicitor, there's messages on there that you'll think I'm stupid, but I'm getting drawn back in, like, I don't know what's going on. She's saying it's not, and he went, right, let's get him for an interview. He said, just talk, just speak. Don't go, no reply, just speak.
Yeah.
So,
And when you tell them the utter truth, there's no need to. You just want to get you.
If I'd have got no reply, it's and having interviewed people who say no reply. It's
well, it's not normally a classic case of you're guilty, but you're just keeping with it within information.
Yeah.
Normally on on police
24 hours in police custody. So I mean, some solicitors will say to you, just go no reply.
Right. Okay.
So I spoke and I disclosed that I was the victim of domestic violence, more psychological. For example, we'd been on a night out one night and we'd had a few drinks and we were totally fine, and then all of a sudden our eyes would go black, the devil would kick in, And she just said, help, he's a police officer. Screamed it in the street. And I was like, what? And she used to say things to me like, if you don't give me, like, I've stopped her a few times drink driving. If you don't give me the keys, I'll just ring the police and say you've hit me.
Right, wow.
And you're a police officer, so you're fucked.
Wow.
Stuff like that. Smashed my phone up before, threw a glass towards my head and I had to duck and it smashed. Stuff like that. But more the, and I'm not condoning just like that, but more the psychological sort of stuff.
Right, okay.
Some of the self-harm was, it's your fault I drink. I never used to drink till I met you. This is, and it started to really mess with your head.
Yeah.
So, comes out from interview, they didn't say, right, we'll take a statement off you, or they did nothing. And I got told I was on bail. So you have bail conditions, not to contact her, I said, right, no problem. And I was dead calm. I was like, yep, no problem. And I said to the custody sergeant on camera, she will breach my bail tomorrow. What do I do then? And she went, well, and looked at and they were like, no, she won't. We've told her. I went, she will. I said, and she'll turn up. So gets in the car where they're dropping me off back at home. So I had no phone. So they didn't take numbers out my phone, because we don't remember people's mobiles, do we? Like for my kids or my ex-wife or people I could reach out to. Didn't ask do they want family coming round? Can we drop you off at a family member's house? So it's now early hours. I'm dropped off the end of my road with my custody bag.
Right.
With my keys and my wallet and stuff in.
Right, okay.
And walked off and the inspector shouted out the window, Matt, don't do out daft. We know you're struggling. So I was like, brilliant. So I went in the house and
at this point, like, obviously, this is not good. Where were you at in your headspace?
Looking back, I don't know.
Right, okay.
Lost, confused, broken, trying to be a good person, trying to be kind. Because I thought, well, if I start shouting and bawling, they're going to think, well, this is really him. And it wasn't that, because I'm not like people who know me, I am moody. I'm a knobhead at times. I have been the past few weeks. I'm quite snappy at times.
Right, okay.
Kids sometimes. And it's not, I'm aggressive and kicking stuff.
Right, okay.
And it's got worse since all of this. So like, but I know now I'm going out my bike.
Yeah.
Like the other Saturday morning, I was quite selfish and I just went out my bike for 4 hours. Got a climbing that I wanted to do. And I just thought, no, because it then makes everything better for everybody else.
Yeah.
So,
and I think if the fact that you've got self-awareness though about that,
yeah,
you're able to go, well, I know these are my problems or my situations, but actually I'm aware of them.
I know, but otherwise it just upsets everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I went in the house and I just opened a bottle of rum and I woke up on the kitchen floor, plastered. And my dog was a pup at the time. My dog was just sat next to me and I thought, fucking hell, Matt, like, what is going on? So the next day I went to EE and I got a replacement SIM for one of my old phones just so I could have like contact with people. Mid-morning, phone call from her. So I never answered it. Rang my Fed rep. This has happened. He was like, oh, no way. I said, she'll do it. She's going to turn up. I've got my kids tonight. She won't. So as the day went on, she tried to contact me 3 times.
Right.
And then she turned up. So on the night, she turned up at my back door with her dog. And I thought, why is Alfie here? And then I thought, oh, no. And she was just stood in my back garden, didn't say a word, with a backpack on, plastered. And I was like, right, you need to leave. I said, you're breaching my bail. You're a police officer. I'm a police officer. Like, this is not good. She never spoke a word. And she drove there.
Right.
So I rang my Fed rep and I said, look, she's turned up, and he couldn't believe it. He wasn't very good, to be fair. He was, but nothing happened to her. Like, she wasn't arrested for perverting the course of justice and all she had to say was, he told me to come round, and I am confident I'd have been sat in Durham prison on remand.
And there's like, I'm not being funny, but if a bloke had broke the rules and turned up at the house, I mean, you're getting dragged. You're getting
you are.
dragged in there.
This is when I started to realise, like, I'm fighting a system here. Like, this is
Right,
not
okay.
This is not just me proving my innocence.
Yeah.
This is a real bias set of circumstances.
Yeah.
So I was on bail, and they were that worried about my mental health and I got served gross misconduct papers again, which I kind of knew was coming. And they said, right, we found some roles for you at work till this is sorted. So just to give you a bit of context, my vetting level to be a Spock had to be security clearance vetted. So it was one down from like the top vetting you can get.
Right, okay.
But because of what was going on, I needed to get management vetting and then start again. And they wouldn't pass my management vetting so I was just stuck.
Right, okay.
So the first job they offered me was I laugh because I just have to laugh now. It was to monitor CCTV in custody to make sure prisoners aren't doing anything stupid. And I just replied saying, I've just been sat in one of them for 4 hours. Are you joking me?
Yeah.
Like, even just the 4... they just sent a list out.
Yeah.
But have a look and think, right, what's he gone through? Take that job off.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah.
My old inspector, Becky, who honestly is one of the angels in my life, she said, look, put him up in the intelligence unit with me. I'll look after him. And she was great. She was just like,
Right,
look,
okay.
Matt, come and go as you please. I'll give you a bit of work. Like,
Right.
so 3
You
weeks.
need that, don't you, when you're going through, like, you see people like literally like angels when you're in that bad time and someone reaches out and does something really good. You never forget
The
that
crazy
type of stuff,
thing
do
about
you?
that was, and I agree with you, was because I was a police officer, it's like if you're a scaffolder and you get locked up, you go to work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or you're an accountant or you're a nurse. Whatever happens, if you're arrested, you can still go to your job, and it's not that.
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
And I thought
a double
everybody
whammy.
knew. So I thought everyone was looking at
Yeah.
me. And when you walk into headquarters at Cleveland, it's all glassed and and I thought I was in this fishbowl of everyone. Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
He's a perpetrator. He's horrible. And no one really knew, really.
Yeah.
So Becky was just beautiful and she was great. So 3 weeks later, I'm due to answer my bail. And I was like, do I just turn up at the Nick? No one spoke to me. So that night before, I got a phone call off the DI and he said, look, Matt, you've got no case to answer criminally.
Right, okay.
You know, your location services have proved, we've looked at it. And I said to him, is that because there's no case to answer because you don't think there's any evidence or because she's lied? And he just wouldn't answer it. So about 3 or 4 weeks later, I was told no case to answer discipline.
Right, okay.
Let's try and get you back to work. So I was like, fuck me. So this is now the May it started. This is now October. So 2 days after I'm told I had no case to answer disciplinary, 1 day after, I was at work and I got asked to go and help CID with some phones because their heads are up. It was a big job. And I said, yeah, I'll go down and help him. So I went down and there was a guy sat in the corner and he was her tutor. When she joined. And I knew he didn't work at Red Connect. He worked at Stockton and he was in plain clothes. And his face when I walked in. And I went upstairs and I said to Emma, another angel in my life, my boss at the time, she wasn't a cop, but she was in charge of covert standards.
Right.
Without her and Becky and Claire and a couple of others, I genuinely wouldn't be sat here.
Right.
People like that have genuinely saved my life.
Yeah.
Just beautiful people. And I said to her, I'm going to get locked up again. She went, shut up, like, you're paranoid.
No way.
And I said, he sat down there. I said, I'm telling you.
Stop.
So went home. Next day, I'm up at 6:30 for work. Looked out my window, DV unit. I was like,
no way.
got to be taking the piss. So this was on the Wednesday.
What's a DV unit? I don't know what
Domestic
that is.
violence unit, sorry.
Ah, right,
So
okay.
this was on the Wednesday. And I thought, well, I burst out laughing when he opened the door. And I was like, what the fuck?
Wow. You getting to the point where you're thinking, is this actually just been one big wind
It
up?
was just insane. So they come in, and it was a girl who was in my first interview. And just to say, when you go to domestic DV now, you're meant to have your body camera on. to record, so you capture emotion and reactions, and people might be going like,
Right, okay.
never once did they have a camera on.
Right.
So she said, you're getting arrested on suspicion of assault. And I was like, on who? And she said, her. And I was like, when? And she went, oh, Sunday, just gone. Not Monday, just gone. And this was a Wednesday. And I was like, right. I said, look.
No way.
Yeah. So I said, I was at headquarters all morning.
Stop.
Figuring out how I come back to work. This is who I was with. These are the police officers that I saw. I said, I came home. I went on a 3-hour bike ride, which is on Strava. Because I'm that paranoid. I was tracking I was going into pizza shops and going at the camera.
Oh, really? You logged into
my
that
hypervigilance
process?
was just, it still is. It's insane.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane. So I said, then I went to Akbar's with my friend Idris on the night. And there's the text message to say, can we go a bit earlier because I'm starving because I've been on a bike ride? And she went, yeah, but there's a bit of harassment as well, apparently, so you still have to come in. So I was beginning to lose it a bit now. So the lad who was there tried to follow me up the stairs, and I just said to him, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother coming up these stairs, mate. I said, I'm getting fucking changed. I said, this is like, just go downstairs. And this might sound mental, but people who've been through trauma like this, because it is traumatic, my house was a mess and I was embarrassed. Like, it was coming up to winter. I didn't have a tumble dryer, so like my kids' underwear and stuff was on the radiators in the hall. I'd let the house go, and I was really embarrassed.
Right, okay.
And moving further forward, I shot the radiator out the hall.
Right.
I thought I need to get rid of that radiator and put a new. It's mental.
Yeah.
But just to try and clean like everything.
Yeah,
up.
no, I think that makes sense though.
So I get put in a car and speak to the solicitor in the car, and he's like, Matt, I'll see you down there. Don't say anything, blah, blah, blah. The lad next to me goes to me, have you thought about getting a non-molestation order against her? So a non-molestation order is like an order where there's restrictions on her coming to you, contacting you. And I went, if you think that, why have you arrested me? And the two lasses in the front were like, shut up, like, don't be saying. And I thought, oh, wow. So gets taken into custody, put in a cell for 4 hours. And I needed some air. And I'm doing my mantra again, doves, cedar room by the doves. It's only now I've started being able to listen to it again.
Do you do that before your keynote speaking? Calm down. Breathe.
So I buzzed the buzzer. I felt like a proper. At this point, I'm like, I may as well have shouted, yeah, let us out, mate. So, so I buzzed the buzzer. And there'd been a changeover with custody staff because I'd been taken in early in the morning. The day shift staff had come on. And the custody sergeant opened the door and he went, why the fuck are you here? And I went, I'll stop you there then. Tell them. I said, because your mate's authorised my detention. And I said, like, if you think that, tell them. And he went, oh. So he shit out as well. So I got put in for interview. I went to see the solicitor and he just looked at me. He went, Matt, it's third party reporting again. From him. The guy who was sat in the nick.
He'd made it.
So he'd popped round to see her.
Right. This is crazy.
I'll let you surmise.
This is crazy.
I'll let you surmise why he popped round.
Yeah.
Married with a kid. And he's popped round to see. So he'd gone round to see a girl on his shift who was vulnerable, making allegations. There was issues, loads of issues, and he hadn't spoke with supervision about going round, but he was all right to go round. You can surmise.
Yeah.
She answers the door with a red mark on her face and says, Matt's been round and hit me. And I just started laughing, and the solicitor went, Matt, he said, this is like...
Wow.
So I spoke again, told them my movements, said I've got Google Maps, locations, I've got my Strava, like this is where I was, accounted for everything. That finishes, and they tried to bail me again. But they hadn't told the custody sergeant what had happened last time I was on bail. So I'm now in this strange position where I'm sat as a prisoner but also as an experienced cop with an unbelievable solicitor, and the custody sergeant was sat in this room and I'm saying to him, this is what happened last time? He went, well, they haven't told me that. And I was like, well, no, because she breached my bail. And he went, well, what happened to her? And I said, nothing. So... I get released under investigation. So just to give you some context, the Bail Act changed ages ago. I think it was something to do with Lord Britain, who was on bail for child sex offences, and he died whilst on bail. So his family said, that's not fair. So now, if there's not enough evidence, generally now you get released under investigation, so you're not under bail, and when they find you evidence, they rearrest you. So
Right,
just to
okay.
give you some context.
Right.
So I get taken into this like little storeroom, and professional standards come in, serve me gross misconduct papers again, and then suspend me. And I lost it.
Yeah.
I'd been dead calm, and I just lost it. I was awful. The two lasses, I actually emailed them a couple of weeks later and just said, look, like, please don't see that as a reflection of myself. Like, you're just doing a job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And they were lovely. They were just like, look, Matt, we get it. You're under loads of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, what I didn't call them was like, it was awful.
Right. Okay.
But they served me gross misconduct papers and said, on Sunday, so and so and so, you've been round. And my solicitor went, well, you've interviewed him about the Monday. Which day is it? No, well, we thought it was a Sunday. Domestic violence unit thought it was a Monday. Luckily, I'd covered my tracks for the Sunday as well. So I get told to go home. And Emma dropped me off. And she just said, are you all right? And I said, no. And we were joking because I'd been in custody for that long, and I'd just drinking cups of tea, my breath was lifting. And we got in the car and she went, oh, you've got custody breath, like, you reek. I was like, oh, sorry, Emma, like. She said, get some chewy, like, and we were laughing. And she didn't know what to do. It was just awful. Like, everyone who thought something of me was just like, what?
And the thing is, though, that it's, I think when you sometimes, and you'll know this, and I've seen it happen, just that accusation, though, just sprinkles seeds of doubt or opinions on people.
It doesn't, I'll come on to that, but just to conclude, 2 days later told, no case to answer. Oh, my suspension was lifted after 12 hours because I later got told by a senior officer who would never put pen to paper because I asked him to. He said, oh, the deputy chief has had the wool pulled over his eyes and he's not happy at all. So, yeah. So told no case to answer disciplinary, no case to answer criminally. And then it all died down, really. And then as the Christmas came, it was my birthday's the 22nd, and it just hit me like a train. Like, I hadn't even grieved the relationship ending because of everything that had gone on.
Right.
And then, fuck me, did I dip.
Yeah.
I was the lowest I'd ever been, like, drinking a lot. I still drink too much now, but when I say drinking a lot, like 8 cans a night, 10 cans a night.
Right, okay.
Just surviving. And I went up the hills with the dog. I went up to North Yorkshire Moors with the hills near Kildale, and I found this little spot. I looked at this and I climbed the tree, and I took my jumper off and I thought, fuck it. Like, and my dog barked, and I looked down and I thought, anyway, I got down. And I was just walking, crying, and this woman pulled me and she just said, are you all right? And I said, no. And I seen her get on the phone. I thought, oh, fuck, she's rang the police. I knew it was North Yorkshire, so they knew nothing about my story.
Right.
This is how paranoid I was. I got in my car, and because of my job, I knew where all ANPR cameras were, regionally as well. And I was like, so I went on a route home that avoided every ANPR camera.
Oh, right, okay.
Got home, and the next morning, I rang Emma, and Emma was on leave, and I just said, Emma, like, I need help.
Wow.
It's not good. I said, I need help. And she went, right, I'm going to meet you at the Nick. I said, no, Emma, you're on leave. She went, I'm coming to meet you. So I met her in my office, in our office. And I just broke down and said, look, Emma, this has happened. And I just said, the counsel I'm getting through the force is terrible. Like, I need help because it's getting bad. And then welfare put me onto they had a private pot of money and put me onto a private counsellor, and that started to work. And then in February or March, my mate messaged me and said, have you seen what she's put on Facebook? And I was not on Facebook. And I was like, no. And she put this poem on. It was an ode to domestic violence. Why did she escape? And it was like, he is abusive towards his kids. He threw my dog down the stairs and said, if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. He used to make me go to work with no makeup on. Now, this had come up in an interview where I'd said to her, she said, oh, I can't be asked to put makeup on. I said, you don't need to put makeup on. Like, you're lovely. Like, and then that was flipped as I was telling her. And I used to say to her, like, and honestly, mate, when I say, like, slim, her body, she was like a size anywhere between a 6 to a 10,
Right, okay.
but normally around an 8.
Right.
Like, and I used to say, well, go to the gym. It's good for your head. And then it got flipped on me that I was telling her to go to the gym because I thought she was fat and all that.
Right.
So this poem came out. I just had enough. And it didn't name me, but it was obvious. So
Yeah.
I rang work. I just said, right, what are you doing to protect my ear? Like, and ultimately, you're discrediting the organisation as well. Like, you've got a police officer saying this, serving police officer still doing this. And that went on. Nothing happened. She just got told to take it down. And then time went on. And I really tried to go back to work. I passed my vetting. But part of my counselling she said, you need to get a review done just for your own peace of mind. And you know what, mate? I just wanted some accountability.
Yeah.
So this review got done by a female chief inspector who I got on with really well. I mean, I won't ever speak to her again, but I got on with her really well. And we went in for this meeting, and it was me, Becky, my Fed rep, who changed professional standards, and this female chief inspector. And she just said, I know, but, Wayne Cousins had done what he'd done in the Met. You know Wayne Cousins?
No, who's that again?
So he was a serving cop in the Met, and this is a problem. Around about the same time all my stuff had kicked off, he'd approached a lone female with his warrant card and said, I'm the police, you need to come with me, and basically he raped her, killed her.
Right, okay.
Well, Wayne Cousins did this, and I was like, I'm not Wayne Cousins. Like,
yeah.
And she went, oh, no, you've done nothing wrong. And I just slumped against the wall. I always remember I just slumped against the wall, and there was some noise where my Fed rep was going at her. And I can't remember anything after that.
Yeah.
And I left, and I met my current partner for a coffee, and I just burst into tears. And I just said, like, I can't do this. And then the next day I was out walking the dogs, and Emma rang me. And she said, look, Matt, when you come back to work, blah. And I said, look, Emma, I'm never coming back. And for someone who was so proud to be a cop, like,
yeah,
it was hard, and I didn't know how it was going to look like. I didn't know what that was going to look like. And long story short, that's another podcast about getting medically retired. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, so bad dreams. So when all this was going on, I was starting to have really bad dreams about deaths that I'd been to, dead kids that I'd seen, but I was getting the blame in my dreams, and then I was getting arrested for these people dying. Car crashes I've been to where I was pulling people out the car, which I've done, and I was getting blamed for it.
No way.
Hypervigilance was through the roof. So even now, like, if I'm in a restaurant or a bar, or my kids are great. Do you want to sit here, Dad? And I'm like, yep. I'd have to sit like this. Couldn't sit where you're. I could, but it makes me really uncomfortable. I have to see everything around me.
Right.
Like, it's just changed me completely. And I got medically retired in October of 23 with
right, okay.
PTSD, and yeah.
Wow, what a story. What a story.
I laugh because it's honestly, if I don't laugh, it would drive me insane. Like,
yeah. Well, I think humour is a very good cure. I think that's, you hear people who work in hospitals and stuff have very dark.
We did it as police.
Have dark humour. Do you know what I mean? So I think it does help. So how have you, and are you, like, how have you kind of like made steps now to continue your life and not let all of that actually affect you?
It still does.
It still does.
Yeah.
And
she's still in the police. Nothing happened.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Wow.
I really struggle with accountability. A lot of people who are involved in my case have been promoted. Every day I think about it.
Do you?
Yeah. Even if it's for 10 seconds or it's for an hour. Like, and it's why I walk and cycle a lot. Like, I get it out. So I'm not showing it to because it's not fair, my current partner, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel for her sometimes because I'm sat sometimes stewing over stuff, and it gets really frustrating. And I always look at people, like, I always take my hat off to the Hillsborough victims.
Yeah.
They fought and fought and fought and fought for just accountability.
Yeah.
And I know it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
People who live with a false allegation or lack of accountability, or her actions have never been seemingly dealt with, it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
But then that causes a lot of angst in me. Like the other week, I said to my partner, I've just got into this. It was about 3:00 in the afternoon. I was watching a Tour de France. I just went into I felt the dark cloud coming. I was like, shh, and I couldn't shake it off.
Yeah.
So then I have a drink.
Right, okay.
Not like, I don't go down the bottle of a barrel, do you know what I mean? But
Right,
like,
okay.
I'll have a few beers. And I know, the thing is, I don't beat myself up about it now. I
Yeah.
just think,
Well, what's your? There's loads of stuff that you're saying that we can touch on. Like, what is where you're at with the alcohol type of situation then in terms of turning that, because I've had I've had issues with alcohol and stuff, and it's very much a classic thing to do for, especially with blokes, where if there's if we have a situation, anxious, depressed, or there's something, we might turn to the alcohol. And where you're at with that.
it's not like,
And I'm not saying you've got a problem.
I'm not sat here now thinking, oh God, I need to get home and have a drink.
No, I know that.
I know I probably drink too much.
Right, okay.
I drink a lot socially, which is good.
Right, okay.
I'm not a dick in drink.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't start getting violent and crying and kicking off, and I've never took drugs, so
Yeah.
it doesn't lead me to doing coke or gambling or anything. So if I was like that, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm only, it's something I try and work on, but it's something I don't beat myself up about, because it's not like I'm plastered every night.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I know it's something I have to work on, and I am.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be sober, because I genuinely, like, I'm going out for a pint on Friday with a couple of people who I know, and I love going to the pub. I love a pint.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. This is because I obviously talk about stuff like that. My thing is like, if you really like a drink and it doesn't have too much of a negative spin on it, and you like it, then I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's a problem with it. If it's like what you've mentioned there,
if you're destructive with it,
if you're destructive with it, then you need to, because I think you've got to also be very conscious about saying stuff like that about, because it's like you don't want to be judgmental and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like I
listen to a lot of people who've packed drinking, and I find it quite preachy. You should stop drinking, and it's not good. Well, actually, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I absolutely love going for a walk to Saltburn with the dogs and sitting and having a pint.
Yeah, totally.
So don't judge me.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate your story, and I take my hat off to you. Like, I've got a mate who stopped drinking, stopped doing coke, stopped the gambling.
Yeah.
But when we go to see him in Ireland, he drives us around, and he doesn't say to me, my mate, should you be like... Just laughs at us. Puts us in the car and takes us home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find a lot of stuff with, like, addiction, or... And I'm not addicted, but just don't be preachy about it. It does my head.
Yeah.
I see people on social media saying, oh, I'm 3 years sober and you should try it, and it's doing... I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It very much does... It has that air about it where because when I talk about it, that's exactly what I say in terms of, I'm not preaching here, but what I am doing is, like, I got this from a TEDx talk about, under the influence of alcohol, you're 7 times more likely to act from a suicidal thought. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not preachy. I think that's just important. That's good information. Important information, whereas if you really say struggling in your headspace, like, just turning at the bottle probably isn't the answer. Do you know what I mean?
See, the hangover was worse for me. So it wasn't the fact of the being under the influence.
It is, and that's what normally is for everyone else, because it's the window of the 24, the window of the 24 the window of the 24 hours.
So but no, I just, at the time I turned to it. So I was brought up a Catholic, and I was told to go to church all the time, and you should do my head in. And everything that's gone on in the Catholic Church, I was like, no. And I still joke with our mum, because our mum's quite big into her faith. And
so I got massively brought up that way.
And so I am spiritual, but more of as in spiritual.
Yeah.
Something
that's
calmer.
And that's 100% where I am.
And I think it's nice where I'm at now. Like, I understand there's something, but I think it's more spiritual.
Yeah, that's exactly my take on it.
in order to get me through what I was going through when I was getting arrested and stuff, I started looking at Buddhism a lot.
So that's the one that I lean towards the most out of everything.
So I was watching little YouTube videos about the Buddha and this, and I
Yeah.
was like, right. And it really helped me.
Yeah.
And I'm not one for I've tried meditating.
Well, you know what though?
I use what they call like Robin Williams, right? The actor.
Yeah.
He loved road biking, loved bikes. And he said, and it stuck with me, it's my moving meditation. So,
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. I think when you're meditating, you don't have to be sat like cross-legged humming with loads of having mushrooms and going on to a different planet. And
yeah. The thing is though, so there's a couple of things. So I've done, there's a bike riding community that I've done a load of work with, the Never Throw in the Towel project, and we actually I had them on the podcast, and they said exactly what you've just said there. They said in terms of for their headspace and their mental health, they said, I'm telling you now, go on a bike. I mean, when you've got nothing, you can't think about anything else. He says it's absolutely unbelievable for your headspace.
So on Saturday, I wanted to climb up out of Kildale up to Commondale. And some of the gradients are like 20%, 25% in some places. So
right.
You are like pedal.
Right, okay.
Pedal. And I haven't told anyone this yet, but when I got the top, I just had this outpouring of like crying. And I was always going to get the top. And it's not about I've done this climb.
Yeah.
I'd set my stall out. I couldn't be asked getting up on Saturday morning. I was going to go set off at 6 o'clock. I was late going and I thought, just go. And I just rode. And I got to the junction where I could have went to Great Ayton, which was easier, or right at Kildale. I thought, just go and do it. And I got upset at the top. And it's not that I was upset. It's just everything you think about on the bike and everything you're trying to process and every argument you have in your head.
Yeah.
The bike, you're just travelling. And we live. I'm a massive advocate of Teesside. Like, yes, the town centre's a bit of a hole. The club, the team aren't doing very well.
Yeah.
And I am a great believer, and I keep banging a drum about this. Without Premier League football, it's affecting Middlesbrough massively as a town.
Yeah.
It does. Bars can't stay up and all that. But when you look, we're 10 minutes from the beaches, which is stunning.
Yeah.
The coastal line, like I walk regularly across the cliffs towards Staithes from Saltburn. I'm moving to Mask in December, funnily enough, to be nearer the sea. Go the other way. We're 25 minutes from the most beautiful countryside. And what the bike gives you is I can leave Middlesbrough Town Centre.
Yeah.
And within half an hour, I'm in the North Yorkshire Moors.
Yeah.
Climbing up to Commondale.
Yeah.
Me and the sheep.
Yeah. Mint.
I was chatting to the sheep. So I'm climbing the hill, right, the other day, and I was like, fucking hell. I was like, now sheep. It's mint up here, innit? And I was just like chatting. But that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
And it's my way of coping. It's my way of that walking as well with the dog. Like, is a lot of stuff.
And through, you've obviously the what you've done. You know what you've done in your career. You're obviously a switched on bloke, a clever man. Having all the negatives and all the stuff that you've been through, obviously they've had some negatives, some stuff. But there's a quote that I always finish my talk on by Napoleon Hill. Every adversity, every heartache, every failure carries with it the seed of a benefit. And talk me through how you've done that, because it's you know that even though you've been through them hard times, there's and I'd be happy to hear your take on it. There's also been some seeds of benefit from that and leading you into the work that you've done.
So the first few benefits I'll talk about is I would never have met my current partner. My daughter plays football at a really good, so she plays for York. So I do most of the driving to training to York. So I'm up and down to York twice a week. Then there's games on a Saturday where I'm here, there and everywhere. Can racking the speeding tickets up.
Mate, I'm doing so much driving now, and I'm getting points on my license, and my missus is having to go to us, and I'm like, there's not one man that I don't know any friend that hasn't got points on the license.
Just been caught doing 79 in the 70. 79, I'm like...
Yeah.
But the time I've had in the car with my daughter, like, it's priceless.
Yeah.
Because we're in a car.
I'm doing some work with a car company, and we obviously I do my thing in the barber chair, but they were talking about the side by side talking.
Priceless. It's priceless. I mean, she's offloaded stuff to me in the car. She's not spoke to me in the car. Not through, she's just not wanting to talk. She's done her homework in the car. She eats in the car.
Yeah.
I would never have got that time. So the benefits are I'm not in the police anymore. And
Okay.
looking back, it's like looking at a different person. It's like I'm looking into someone else's life, me in the police.
Yeah.
And when I see where the police is going now, and I'm glad I'm not there.
Have you got a bit of a, based on what you went through, have you got a little bit of a sour taste, like in your mouth around working in the police?
No.
No.
No, because I think everything happens.
Yeah.
You know, and I am a great believer that my career in the police was something that was a gift for me. And the way I went with it, I never ever dreamed I'd be sat finding people through mobile phones and looking at masts and measuring the distance from the mast to where the phone. I never thought I'd do that.
Yeah.
And I've saved lives.
Yeah.
And I've helped a lot of victims, and I've caught murderers. I've helped catch, some very dangerous people.
Yeah.
We've took a lot of drugs off the streets, firearms, and I'm proud. I'm really proud.
And that's a great mentality to have.
I've got 9 commendations that my mum has because I can't have them in my house, but I've asked for them back for when I move.
Yeah.
Because my kids need to see what I've done.
Yeah.
And I don't hold any angst against anybody. I think people were shithouses. I think people made really poor decisions. I think they could have been a lot stronger in the decision making, and none of this would have happened to me. And they've ultimately, through a collective, have caused another human being to have PTSD that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
But I don't hold anything against them. I just think that they've been quite weak.
Yeah.
And I think that's down to them now. They have to live that life, and
Yeah.
my ex-partner, it's the accountability side of stuff. Like, I don't hate her. I hope she sorts all of her problems out and she goes to live a life of whatever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't care less about
her,
really.
what I've discovered, and it actually did make me think of you, because I know that I knew this was kind of like your story. So when I do my talks, and then I basically have men sitting in the chair, they start opening up, and there's been multiple times where the blokes end up opening up saying he's basically getting abused, and through further questioning, wait, what's going on? It's our drink, and it's kind of like made me realize, like, wow, this is like a topic that is bigger than I actually thought it was.
I know we've jumped off topic here, but the Violence Against Women and Girls campaign, the VOG campaign, is brilliant, and it needs to be done. I've been to so many domestics where I have actually thought, if you don't get out this, he's going to kill you. Like, I've seen injuries on females that is just disgusting. It's gone too far now. And my ex is a good example of, she knew, because she was a domestic violence support worker, then joined the police, she knew what to say to get a reaction.
Right, okay.
And I think because of things like Wayne Couzens, because of other people who, for example, were in Cleveland Police, who've gone to jail and stuff like that, it's just used against everybody. And especially being a cop, it's not used as an individual case against you. And I urge people, because I've put stuff on LinkedIn before, and there's been a lot of females going, this happens to women as well. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that's what you've got to.
I'm not,
and that's that. I think that's a very important thing, that what you've touched on there. It's like you're not going, like blokes, women do this to us, blah 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 blah, because you're obviously saying some amazing stuff about women as well, of the help you've got. But again, I think it's that like. Initial like stigma
without the women in our lives, we'd be nothing.
Yeah,
my mum, my sister, my partner, my daughter. You know.
Yeah,
I know I'm leaving my son out of that, but he's a lad. But Emma, Claire, Becky, my friends at work. Like, I'm not saying that.
And I think that's a very important message for you. I think, to kind of like, because I can imagine that you might be prone to getting that.
Yeah, but I don't mind that, because there's an agenda out there that doesn't suit people's narratives. And we're in a society now where people get offended far too much on behalf of other people.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
Oh, totally.
Why are you so offended? You don't.
Yeah.
Why are you offended about something that doesn't affect you?
Yeah.
But we're in this generation now.
Totally.
And I must admit, I don't like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I find it's become a social media page. But I understand how it helps you with business.
Yeah.
And I look at your page, it's so positive, and you're doing it, you generate work from it, and you're doing the positivity. Some people just go on there and rant and rave.
Yeah. Well, I've always just, I don't want to say just a barber, but I've never been taught corporate at all. So I've never ever been on LinkedIn at all because what I done never ever lent itself. But when I'd done my first job, the guy whose company it was basically said, you should go on LinkedIn based on what you're doing, and I reckon you could go. So pretty much about 95% of my work comes from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So it's...
But I understand it.
Yeah.
But stop being offended on behalf of the people and actually listen to my... What I'm saying is...
Well, who's the comedian who... is it Ricky Gervais saying, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right? Yeah. And it's such a true quote.
I just wish there was more for lads. And I wish there was a space where I'm quite open. Like, I would stand in front of 1,000 blokes and tell my story and go, it killed me.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
But the thing is, though, that is actually what, once we get to flip our mindsets, though, that's hugely like masculine. That's hugely strength. That's, do you know what I mean? That's all the good stuff, really.
Well, yeah.
It is, though, isn't it?
No, it is. And I get it. I just...
Being open, being vulnerable, all that type of stuff.
You want to try getting into that space with my story?
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh.
Yeah.
If I was a female, are we on?
Yeah.
So it's a real difficult space, but it's a journey that, I'm not a campaigner. Do you know what I mean? Because you end up drawing loads of people, and I haven't got the energy for that. I haven't got the energy for people going, oh, well, I'm going through this now. I haven't got the energy for that. Like, I'm not a social worker.
Yeah.
I'm not. And when you're in this space and when you're an empath, you attract people going, oh, Matt, can I message you? And that I'm fit.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I had just a small snippet of it of experience and like kind of a biased outlook. So this was many years ago, but I basically had a girlfriend, and she'd hit like basically attacked me a couple of times. Anyway, we'd got into an argument, and we were stationary, and I'd basically I don't want to get into it, but she basically started punching me. So like because I've boxed, obviously I know how to block myself, but I'm literally just covering up, and she's gone mad at me, right? And in a nutshell, someone had obviously seen that altercation.
Can I guess? Well, someone ring the police and say there's a male and a female fighting. So the male's attacking the female.
So obviously, I don't know what was said, obviously, but clearly that's either that's been said or there's obviously been an assumption. So I'm covering up, and I'm basically, it got to the point where I'd basically said, look, please stop. And she was only like 10 minutes away from my house, and I said, just stop. I'm going to drop you off. Anyway, so I've done that. Anyway, at this point, obviously, this has been flagged, and I'd get basically. Then I see some flashing lights, and I'm like, oh, it's for me that. So there's me and her in the car, and got stopped. Mate, I gets dragged out, and the male copper. This was round about the quote, "Are you the big man hitting women?" And I literally was like, I went, actually, mate, it's the other way around. I got in the backseat of the car, and basically got asked what had happened. I said what happened. I think she's done is she's actually said the truth of what's happened, and basically we literally just went our separate ways, and I was let out and I went, but that immediately it was I was doing it, whereas whoa, hang on a second. It's actually the completely
There's a
opposite
lot
way
of,
around.
I'm not defending the police in any way, shape or form, but there's a lot of unconscious bias out there. And I think the assumption always is the male's the aggressor.
Yeah, and I think the statistics,
They do back that up.
Back that up.
But it's just it's a space that's just not fit for purpose anymore. You know, we give all these certain groups certain rights and protection, yet just as a bloke, a heterosexual bloke,
yeah,
just give us some help, will you?
Yeah,
Getting braid here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you don't get it. There's no support. But thankfully for me, people saw sense in the end, and you know there was no case to answer. And no matter what people say and do to you, I have since them days I've thought, right, I need to find a way of helping, and that's what I do. So I left the police. I went for a job at the Middlesbrough Football Club Foundation. So I hadn't had a job interview for like 20 years. And it was a job that I didn't want. I knew I didn't want the actual job I'd applied for. I just wanted a bum on a seat to say, look, this is... So I had to do this. They emailed me and said, right, you're going to have to do a 15-minute presentation on antisocial behaviour. I was like, beauty.
Yeah.
So I did it. And do you know what was really liberating? I don't know, how do I say this? I sound like a dick. When I got medically retired, I got my pension.
Right, okay.
So I wasn't sat there going, I need this job financially, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm not being a knob there. Like,
No, I get that.
But I sat in front of the head of the foundation, the deputy head of the foundation, and the lass who was in charge of the department. And I just said, look, I've got an issue. She said, what's up? I said, I can't work more than 30 hours a week because my medical pension dictates that. And I won't, not can't. I said, I won't work on an evening, I won't work on a weekend.
Because your kids?
And I went, why? I went, my kids have lost out too much of me in the police, and they've lost a lot of the dad recently with what had gone on. And they didn't know what had gone on at the time. And I just said, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I said, my daughter's football, I said, and I take her, and I said, I'd probably taught myself out of a job, but I just need you to know that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Anyway, I left, and Craig, he's become a really good friend. He was a deputy head of the foundation. He later became the head.
So I met him with
Craig
you
McManus,
when I first met you.
Guy.
Yeah, lovely fella.
He put his arm around me.
He's a Celtic man as well, so he's one of the good guys.
Yeah. So he put his arm around me and he went, mate, I love that. And I was like, love what? I said, I've just taught myself out of a job. He went, you haven't.
Yeah.
He rings me, he said, Matt, you haven't got that job, but I need you in the business. And I was like, fucking hell, like. So coming out of an institution like the police, you don't know what your transferable skills are. You don't think you've got any because you've just been focused on this thing.
Yeah.
But over time at the foundation, they found me a job where I was working with kids who were in care in school. So I was like mentoring them. And I thought, oh my God, like.
This is me.
This is it. And then I was doing that and I loved it. I was wearing a borough trackie every day, do you know what I mean? And I was giving these kids these amazing opportunities, like playing on the pitch, giving them tickets for the game. And
class.
And what the foundation can give these kids is like, until you're in it and see it, it's beautiful. And
right.
So I really found that like I had this skill, and I always had a skill in the police. My biggest, and I don't give myself any praise at all, is talk. You can probably tell I can talk.
Yeah.
But I can talk to people on any level. So I used to deal with criminals who were like your hardened criminals. I'd get on with them.
Yeah.
As best as I could. If they didn't like me, then that's so be it. But
yeah.
I used to recruit people to come and speak to police. You know how hard that is, like building that relationship over years, and then carrying fags on you, even though you don't. I
don't think you can teach that. You know, I think that's who you are. Do you know what I mean?
I can chat to people.
They're your traits.
So these kids, I just connect with them.
Yeah.
You know, they're from a system that's killed them, that the parents have been really poor, they're in jail or whatever. And then my mum had a heart attack and out the blue completely last year, and she's fine, but it just made me think, like, do you know what? And people might think I'm a bit of a knob here, but I thought, I don't want to work every day. And I thought, I'm in a position where I'm going to try and stick to 3 days a week and give myself that time to myself, so I make things better at home for my family, my partner. Yeah. So now I work for myself. So I've got a company called Lived Experience, whereby...
You're telling all now I'm running out of questions. You just
Oh, sorry.
No, it's perfect.
But-
this is
but
this is perfect. Though I just want you're leading everything there where I want to go.
I'm going back on to the benefit question. What the benefits have been.
Yeah, no, I love it.
So I now do my one-to-one mentoring in schools, and I've devised a program for Year 6 boys where it's a transition program, and I use my digital experience. So I use my police background around phones and stuff, but I use the digital as a hook to get them in.
Yeah.
But it's more based around their well-being, how to look after themselves, what's expected of you as a lad in secondary school.
Yeah.
You know, because you got long hair, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? And we really opened up with these kids. And it's funny you said to me earlier on about that's what masculinity is being. These kids don't have that, a lot of them. You know what I mean? So, like, we are trying to show them that it's all right to get upset at school. It's all right that you don't have a big circle of friends. It's all right that no one likes your story.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And stuff. And it's been really good. So that's growing.
And I think it's that what you're doing there, though, is massively, massively important, because you'll know all of this. I do, and I'm wanting to do more. But what I've noticed and seen from in this area, Teesside and the Northeast, how bad the mental health is, and it snowballs, doesn't, because there's a lot of them don't have these positive male role models, like showing them the ropes and stuff.
Think,
so it's so important.
I don't see myself. I mean, I am trying to be a positive male role model, but like I'm quite humbled at the minute because there's people.
But in a nutshell, though, you are, though, from simple terms, you are. You're going in, doing some good work and teaching some really key fundamentals.
And
I know that you said in our messages you're just Matt, but
that's,
do you know, but it's great work.
Mate, I got put in this meeting. It was a safeguard lead meeting for Redcar and Cleveland. I was like, oh my God, all these safeguard leads. That doesn't bother me. Like, and it was a last minute thing. And I thought, do I do a presentation on Zoom? I thought, no, do you know what? Just be Matt. Because that's me. And I just spoke. Next thing, emails, ping, we'll get in touch with you in September. So I'm like, oh no. So I've just got a corporate sponsorship as well from Vision Building Services in Stockton. Big shout out to them. Like, I went to them cap in hand and they were amazing and they're really supportive, but they want to be involved as well. Yeah. So one of the weeks we're going to try and get them the lads down to a building site and have a look at what's in the building construction, that you don't just have to be a bricklayer or a plasterer.
Brilliant.
There's stuff in the background where, you know, so we're doing all that.
Brilliant.
That's going to grow, and I'm doing some stuff at the Academy at Borough when I get back off my holidays in September around speaking to the scholars, so 16 to 18s, the apprentices at the Borough, around a positive digital footpath.
Right, okay.
In sports and using my police experience in that.
You know what is, I'm literally thinking out loud here. They could, if there's ever any form of where you want to chuck in someone who's going to do free haircuts, because one of the things that I've started to implement is basically if a company books me and pays me for the job, in with me fee, the company, I'm letting the company sponsor a school of their choice for me to do the free talk and the free haircuts. So that obviously the impact from you booking me is one. It's going to be from the
good.
Yeah. So if there's ever any and I've just been sponsored £1,000 off Michaela Rainey. Shout out. It's up to me what I kind of do with the money, and I want to put that into doing free talks at schools. So there could be potentially some potential link ups there.
This is where all this leads to, and I think this world that we're in around men's mental health, I think there's a lot of bullshitters in it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who are using it to make money, who are using it as look at me and and I'm being a bit facetious there, I think. But there's people taking the piss with it, I think, and there's people not doing the right thing. Like, what I charge in schools is probably not enough, but I know schools don't have the money. Like, I can't go into school and go on £1,000 a day.
Yeah, so that's something that that's something that I come across. So I've done talks at school conferences, and what I've realised is they pretty much don't have any budget, like to get external people in. So that's one of my angles where I'm like, well, how can I make this happen.
So that's what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
what I charge is like,
Yeah.
and it's not about money. So that's where I'm looking at it going, well, actually, I want to do this,
Yeah.
you know, and I just think this world that we're in, you've got to be really careful of who you link in with and what.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's just bizarre. I think people do use mental health, especially men's mental health, as a money spinner.
Yeah.
And
well, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
Authenticity doesn't exist.
It's a tricky one because it's like, you know, it's trendy in all aspects, from a point of even like it's, you know, it's like the bad back. You know, I've got mental health, but they're not on the other side. It's an enormous problem. So it's like it's both.
Do you know what I've discovered? I had this. Me and Joel have become good mates. I was chatting to Joel.
Yeah, he's a good lad, Joel.
Yeah. And
I can see why he's getting, because he's a very straight talking, chavvy borough lads.
Oh, cheers. But I love helping young people because they can be helped. I think there's a lot of adults out there who have gone through trauma, whether that's childhood trauma, whether it's trauma like I've gone through, whatever it is, just who don't want to deal with it. But by not dealing with it as an adult, you're affecting everything around you. Like, I wouldn't have got into a relationship with my current partner if I knew I hadn't done some sort of healing.
Yeah.
And I was never going to be fully healed.
Yeah.
Because then that's not fair on them.
Yeah.
Whereas kids and young people, it's generally not their fault they're in the situation that they're in.
Yeah.
So I try and help them now before they become adults, because I used to say to me ex sometimes, you're either going to live a shit life or you deal with what's happened.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't deal with what's happened, you're going to have a shit life.
Yeah.
And I find it quite frustrating at times with adults that they don't want, they're not ready for help, or they don't want help, yet they'll still go on.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see it and I'm a prime example of it. Like, don't enter a relationship if you're in that space. Like, heal yourself, be really happy on your own.
Well, this is I tried. I mean, I'm obsessive with your approach and mindset, but I bang the drum about that. You know, from bad things, from adversity, where's the seed at? And I think drumming in that, like trying to drum that mentality, is so beneficial.
Yeah.
So beneficial.
It does. If you look at most relationships that probably break down, 9 times out of 10, someone hasn't dealt with something at some point in life.
Yeah.
And it comes out.
Yeah.
In however that manifests, affairs or whatever it comes out as. I just think I'm in a nice space with the young people.
No, like, I love that. And I mean, I think...
And I'm still sticking to my 3 days a week. The school said to me the other week, she was laughing in her head. She said, I couldn't do the pro. I said, yeah, should I saw Monday? I said, no.
Yeah.
She said, why? I said, I don't work Mondays.
Yeah.
And do you know what, mate? I'm trying to like, it's really, what you asked me earlier what the biggest benefit is that's come out of all of this. And I am in control of my life as best as I can be. There's always outside influences.
Yeah.
But I'm in control of my life. If I don't want to work, I won't work. Like, I've given myself all of August off. We're going to America on the 19th. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go work when I get back. And then we're moving house in December, and I'm working 1 day a week in a school, which I've already committed to. But I'm like, no, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it's meant, like, every day I think, just because I'm not...
Yeah, I'm the same. Honestly, like
mental.
when I had my first son, I told myself I'm having Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off with him, and now because I'm just self-employed, and I feel so like lucky to be able to do that. And I think if you can do that, I think that's absolutely the best.
I do, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not blessed that I've got my pension, because out of that's come, you know, a lot of pain and anguish and anxiety and PTSD, and it's mad shit. Like, I've developed a twitch.
Right.
So
I haven't seen it.
I've tried really hard not to do, but I'll do stuff like this, like that. Or
right. Okay.
I'll move my ears, or I'll do that every now and then. My partner said, "Why do you do that?" And I said, it's just a shiver. I know what it is.
Okay.
it's just it's almost like my body going with a reset. It's
Right.
mental.
Right, okay.
I've never had that before.
Right, okay.
And it's got worse.
Right.
So when I'm under like, not that I'm under pressure here, but like, if I know I'm doing it like, I must look like, must think, people must think, fuck me, the drink's hit him hard. He sat there quivering.
But again, you're turning that into a positive because you're making it funny.
Do you know what though? I know I'm probably doing good things. And out of it all, I mean, I never thought I'd be buying a brand new house and moving to Mask and picking new bathrooms and tiles and flooring and like I did on last Sunday. It's mental, but I just want to move near the beach.
I mean, that's honestly, that's one thing that I wish. I loved living in Darlington. Absolutely, like love Darlington. Me and me missus, we love it. It's where I met me missus and stuff. But I wish I lived on a beach. Literally, that's the one thing that I would change because obviously I love me cold water. But when you go on that beach and it's just an unbelievable feeling.
I haven't been for the past couple of weeks. I've concentrated on my bike, but I got the red car. Try and do it once a week, and I walk up to like Majuba car park and back. It's about 6 miles on the beach, just me and the dog, and I'm like, he's in and out the sea, and he's a border collie, so he's mental. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I need a fresh start. I need out the house because there's too much going on in there.
Yeah.
I'll be sad when I leave because me and the kids have grew up in there like together. I was only going there for 6 months. I've been 14 years.
I think it's a little bit of I'm guessing it's probably a bit of validation as well also for yourself based on like where you've been in the situations that you've been through, but then you've fought through and you've got through it, and now you're at a stage where you're actually moving on.
Yeah,
and I think I bet there's a lot of validation come from that.
Yeah, and it's finances that have stopped me from moving in the past and stuff and all of that. But now I'm in a position where I'm like, right, let's go for it, and I'm not doing it on my own, so it's not as scary, and it's a new chapter, and I'm 47 in December, and it's just a new chapter of my life that I'm like, I'm becoming a bit of my partner goes, I can't be dumb talking to a lot of people, do you know what I mean? Like,
right, okay.
I just like to walk the dog.
Should we wrap this up?
No. I loved it, but like, when I'm walking the dog, I don't want to talk to you about your dog. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's your dog? Isn't it? No.
Yeah.
Like, got my headphones in. Like,
it's funny you should say that though. So I literally talk. And I'm the same as you. I've always like to talk, and being a Barbie, I literally talk shit for a living. When I go and get my hair cut, right? Like honestly, I don't want to talk.
I know.
And I also like I love being by. I'm very much a people's person, but I don't want to go to the gym with anyone else. I just want to go to the gym by myself. Like I don't want to talk to anyone else. I just want to kind of, that's my space to just kind of like to shut off.
I'm quite bad. I can't be arsed with a lot of people.
Right. Okay.
And like bike rides, people go, "How'd you go out?" I just go out on my own. I don't mind a social bike ride with someone.
Yeah.
But I need to be on my own sometimes.
I think
Tom Hardy said a good thing, didn't he? He said there's something to be said about locking yourself in your house on your own with snacks and a good movie and not talking to anyone. And it's not. Some people think I'm a bit like I hope I move and I hope I don't have to talk to neighbours. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? No. That's what I'm about.
Yeah.
Because when we were buying the house, they were saying, you've got to pay these fees for these people that look after the grounds and all that. Like, and so they organise like community events and they're really good. And I'm like, I'm thinking.
Well, I can relate to a little bit. So like I do love being around people, but I actually screenshotted to me missus because I knew she'd be like, yeah, that's absolutely you. And the picture.
I get these.
And what it was basically I'm extrovert, but I absolutely love being on my own, which is it's a contrast, isn't it?
So people like me and you who talk and try and help people, when you go into the spiritual side of stuff, without you knowing it, I think you attract dark. So I got some Reiki done once, and the lass said to me, she went, "God, Matt, you're like a lighthouse." She said, "You need to close your lighthouse up." So when she explained to me, she said, like, because you want to help people, because you're an empath, and because I suppose my role in the police, you're helping people all the time and all that.
Yeah.
You end up where you have this beacon of light, and think of the people who you're dealing with in the police.
Yeah.
So all the dark energy is like, well, I want some of that. Well, I want some of that. And it chips away at you in the end.
Yeah.
And in the end, you just become drained.
Yeah.
So you probably find that a lot of people who are trying to do good things love being on their own because it is draining.
Yeah.
And just on that, and I won't go on about it because I know I push for time, but it's like when you deal... So we talk about mental health. And when I was with my ex-partner, everyone would always ask, is she all right? How is she? No one ever asks how the person is who's supporting them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important that we start to do that.
Yeah,
because
absolutely it is.
when you're an adult and you've got mental health problems, it's awful, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not in any immediate danger, or you keep threatening to do something and you never do it, and in the end, people become, well, they're not going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Who's looking after them? Because it is so draining.
Yeah.
And I look back at my relationship at that time. For years, I was on my own fighting fires. You know, I used to walk in my house every day and look at the top of the stairs, see if she was hanging. Every day.
Right, okay.
For a long time.
Yeah.
But no one ever goes, right, she's been like that for years, or he's been like that for years. Forget them. Yeah. For 20 minutes, how are you?
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important message.
It absolutely is. It completely is. Totally. I've come across that before. Absolutely. And also, I just want to quickly touch on the point about, because I'm quite passionate about it, is like meditation. So it does have, it has a very much a fluffy terminology, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. But I just call it, I mean, yours is, yours is on your bike and stuff, but I have become big on breath work. Mm-hmm. And that's what I prefer to call it, breath work, because I just think for me, it actually, I incorporate it a lot into my life. So if I'm in a pressure situation, I even actually do, if I'm doing like, and I don't know whether you do this, but like sometimes if I'm speaking and it's kind of like, I remember I'd done it on a stage and it's nerve-wracking. I still always get them nerves. I implement the breath work and it just keeps me calm, keeps me focused, keeps me composed. So I just think sometimes just changing the word of it, because it can be, I'm not meditation. It does have that
It goes
stigma.
back to the old saying of finding what works for you. Like, if you can't sit and meditate, if you can sit and meditate and feel like you're levitating, brilliant.
Yeah.
Take me out after you.
Yeah.
Because my head's like a box of chimpanzees. I can't switch off.
Yeah.
But I can on my bike.
Yeah.
And it's finding, especially as fellas, what is it that works for you?
Yeah.
It might take you 2 years to find out. You might try cycling, not like it. You might try cold water dips and thing. I get it, but I can't be asked getting up that early on the morning to go and do it.
Yeah.
What is it then?
Yeah.
Because it might just be you like decorating.
Yeah. And I think that's very similar to the alcohol situation. Like, if you like a drink and it make like crack on, do it. If you 100%. Like, I'm not good with alcohol. Like, I'm not, and I'm not teetotal, by the way. I'll still, if I'm going on all-inclusive holidays with the family, it's if it's cocktail time, it's cocktail time. But just I wasn't good with alcohol. Yeah. Like ridiculous blackouts, all that type of stuff. And again, it's just around what works for you. I do believe I do think if anyone is struggling though, I do think you can find your thing, and you've got to search. You've got to, if you are really struggling, I think you've got to search for it and try different stuff. Yeah,
but when you talk about the fluffiness for fellas, it's intimidating to go. Do I go and get Reiki? Do I go and get Reiki's unbelievable, but do I go and get my crystals done? Do I go? It's very fluffy and very hippie and very
yeah it is.
But go.
Yeah.
Go somewhere. Go and do it where no one knows who you are, and you never know. You might go, oh, this is.
But again, though, that's like that's masculine. Like, no. Like it is though. Like I remember. No, I know. But it's actually just being confident of actually, you know what? I don't even care what anyone thinks. If I want to do it, like I've got to the stage where I've always had a bit of a like camp flamboyant dress sense. But now I'm just like, if I want to wear
with
it,
it, man.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Just go with it.
Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up?
Could do another 3 hours, but you I'll bore
so
people to tears.
I
just think it's really important that these conversations are had, and it's just it's a subject really that's like we've touched on. It's just some people are petrified of it because I'm a male talking about being a victim of female, but
no, I think you know what, like I touched on before, it's something that I've stumbled across in the work that I do. So I actually think it's potentially extremely beneficial, and if anyone's hearing that story, they can take something from it. I think it's cliche, but if there's one person that takes something from it, it's absolutely worth it.
It is.
So it's been it's been kind of good getting to know you, mate, and great to link up. I know we're in the same field and whatnot. So thanks very much for being on.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers, pal.